The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Introduction. Close your eyes and imagine this scene. It's a warm California evening. A tech genius, the man who literally invented a piece of Wi-Fi technology that's probably in your pocket right now, stands on a wooden dock with his millionaire buddies. The Pacific Ocean stretches endlessly before them, painted gold by the setting sun. In his manicured hands, gold coins, real gold, each one worth $1,000. Plop! He throws one across the water's surface. It skips once, twice, 3 times before disappearing into the depths. His friends howl with laughter. My turn! Another $1,000 coin goes flying. Then another. They're literally throwing money into the ocean, arguing over whose coin traveled the furthest, like kids skipping stones at summer camp. This is a man who once got so offended when a hotel manager asked him to pay for a $500 lamp he'd destroyed that he whipped out $5,000 in cash, picture a brick of $100 bills, slammed it on the counter, and growled, "Don't you ever insult me like that again." Now freeze that image, lock it in your mind, because I need to tell you about another man, a man you've never heard of, a man who, frankly, nobody had heard of until he died. Ronald Read. Ronald spent 17 years pushing a mop at JCPenney. Before that, 25 years pumping gas and fixing cars, grease under his fingernails, working in Vermont winters so cold your breath freezes before it leaves your mouth. His idea of weekend entertainment? Chopping wood, not with a fancy log splitter, with an axe, the old-fashioned way. Now here's where this story gets absolutely wild. The tech genius, the coin skipper, he went completely, utterly, spectacularly broke. Ronald Read, the janitor? When he died in 2014 at 92 years old, he didn't just make the local paper. He made international headlines. CNN, The Wall Street Journal, the BBC. Why? Because this man, who never made more than minimum wage, left behind $8 million. The hospital staff who'd seen him shuffling through their halls for years nearly fainted when they learned he'd left them $6 million. The local library? Another $2 million. From a janitor. How on earth is this possible? How does a certified genius with every advantage flame out, while a man with zero financial education becomes a secret millionaire philanthropist? Welcome to the absolutely bonkers world of money psychology. Morgan Housel spent over a decade obsessing over this exact question, and he discovered something that'll flip everything you think you know about money on its head. Getting rich has almost nothing to do with being smart. It has everything to do with how you behave. Buckle up, because we're about to dive into the hidden forces that secretly control every financial decision you make. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll never look at money, or that Ferrari driving past you, the same way again. Book summary. Chapter 1. Nobody's crazy. They're just from a different planet. The janitor versus genius story isn't some freak accident. It's the norm. Think about this for a second. In what other field could someone with zero training absolutely demolish someone with Harvard credentials? Could a janitor perform better heart surgery than a Harvard-trained surgeon? Could he design a better iPhone than Apple's engineers? Hell no! But with money, it happens all the time. Why? Because we've been thinking about money completely wrong. We treat it like math, like there's a formula. Plug in the numbers, get rich. But money isn't math. Money is psychology. Money is emotions, ego, fear, greed, and all the beautiful chaos of being human. And here's the first mind-blowing truth. When it comes to money, nobody is actually crazy. They're just from different planets. Let me explain. Remember that coworker who spends $200 a week on lottery tickets, even though they're living paycheck to paycheck? You think they're insane, right? Or your friend who sold all their stocks in March 2020 when COVID hit, locking in massive losses? Madness. But here's what Housel discovered. Every single financial decision someone makes, no matter how nuts it looks from the outside, makes perfect sense to them in that moment. They're telling themselves a story, and that story is written by their own unique life experiences. Check this out. Your personal experience with money, everything you've seen, felt, and lived through, represents approximately 0.000000001% of what's happened in the world. But it makes up about 80% of how you think the world works. If you grew up watching your parents lose their house in 2008, you see the stock market as a casino where the house always wins. But if you started investing in 2009, right after the crash, to you the market is basically a money-printing machine. Housel shows this killer chart. If you were born in 1970, the S&P 500 increased 10 times during your teens and 20s. 10 times! The market was your best friend, your golden ticket. But born in 1950, the market went absolutely nowhere for 2 decades. It was like watching paint dry. Actually, worse. It was like watching paint dry while everyone told you the paint was supposed to be making you rich. Are either of these people crazy? No! They just lived on different financial planets. Chapter 2. The Bill Gates Lottery, Luck, and Risk are siblings. Now let's talk about the invisible forces that really control your financial destiny. We love talking about skill, grit, hustle. But there's something we hate admitting exists. Pure, dumb luck. Let me blow your mind with the Bill Gates story you've never heard. When Bill was a teenager in 1968, back when computers were the size of entire rooms, he attended Lakeside School in Seattle. Now get this, Lakeside was one of the only high schools on planet Earth with a computer students could use. We're talking 1 in a million odds here. Not only that, but at this exact school, at this exact time, there was another computer-obsessed kid named Paul Allen. The odds of these two meeting? Astronomical. But wait, it gets crazier. There was a third member of their computer club, a kid named Kent Evans. Bill Gates says Kent was the smartest kid in school. Not just smart, brilliant. They were best friends. They had this whole plan. They'd conquer the world together. Be generals, senators, CEOs, whatever it was, they were going to do it as a team. Kent Evans should have been Microsoft's third co-founder. But he never got the chance. Senior year, Kent went on a mountaineering trip. A routine school outing. He fell. He died before graduation. The odds of being killed in a mountain climbing accident in high school? Also about 1 in a million. Bill Gates, 1 in a million luck. Kent Evans, 1 in a million risk. Same odds, same universe, opposite outcomes. This is the brutal truth about money in life. Every outcome is guided by forces beyond our control. You can do everything right and still fail. Someone else can bumble around and accidentally become a billionaire. Chapter 3. The Ice Age Secret Compound Interest Will Melt Your Brain. Want to know the real secret to Warren Buffett's wealth? It's not what you think. But first, let me tell you about ice ages. For centuries, the world's smartest scientists couldn't figure out what caused them. What force could be powerful enough to bury the entire planet under miles of ice? Massive volcanoes? Asteroid impacts? The sun going haywire? The real answer is so simple, it's almost embarrassing. Snow that didn't melt. That's it. Just a tiny bit of snow that stuck around through summer. Then next winter, a little more snow falls on top. The white snow reflects more sunlight, making it slightly cooler so even more snow sticks around. Year after year after year. A few leftover snowflakes eventually become glaciers that reshape continents. This is exactly how money works. Warren Buffett is worth $84.5 billion. Want to know something insane? $84.2 billion of that, basically all of it, came after his 50th birthday. $81.5 billion came after he turned 65. But here's the thought experiment that'll break your brain. What if Buffett had been normal? What if he started investing at 30, like most people, earned his same incredible 22% annual returns, but retired at 60 to play golf? His net worth wouldn't be $84.5 billion. It would be $11.9 million. That's 99.9% less money. Buffett is an investing genius, no doubt, but his real superpower isn't picking stocks. It's that he's been picking stocks since he was 10 years old, and he's still doing it in his 90s. It's not genius, it's time. Time plus patience equals wealth. Chapter 4. Survival of the Persistent. How to Never Blow Up. Getting rich and staying rich require completely opposite skills. It's like the difference between winning a fight and surviving a war. Let me tell you about Jesse Livermore, the most legendary trader who ever lived. During the 1929 crash, while people were literally jumping from windows, Jesse made the equivalent of $3 billion in today's money by betting against the market. The man was a genius at getting rich, but Jesse had a fatal flaw. He couldn't stop. He kept making bigger bets, taking bigger risks, doubling down again and again until, boom, lost everything. He died by suicide broke. Then there's Rick Guerin. Never heard of him? He was Warren Buffett's third partner, just as smart as Warren and Charlie Munger. But Rick was in a hurry to get rich. He used leverage, borrowed money. When the 1970s crash came, he got margin calls and was forced to sell his Berkshire Hathaway shares to Warren Buffett for $40 per share. Those shares are worth over $500,000 each today. Warren and Charlie weren't in a hurry. They knew the secret. It's not about making money. It's about keeping money. And keeping money requires a survival mindset that's almost paranoid. 3 rules for survival. 1. Be financially unbreakable, not rich. 2. Plan on your plan not going according to plan. 3. Be optimistic about the future, but paranoid about what could kill you before you get there. Chapter 5. The Enough Paradox: Why Billionaires Go to Prison. Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller are at a billionaire's party. The host made more money that single day than Heller earned from Catch-22 in his entire lifetime. Vonnegut asks Heller how that feels. Heller's response: I have something he'll never have. Enough. Boom. Mic drop. The hardest financial skill isn't making money. It's knowing when to stop trying to make more. Rajat Gupta ran McKinsey. Worth $100 million. Should have been set for life, right? Nope. He wanted to be a billionaire so badly he committed insider trading and went to federal prison. Bernie Madoff was already running a successful, legitimate business, making millions. Wasn't enough. Built the largest Ponzi scheme in history. Died in prison. What drives this insanity? Social comparison, the game that nobody wins. The rookie MLB player making $500,000 feels poor next to Mike Trout making $36 million. Trout feels poor next to hedge fund managers making $500 million. They feel poor next to Jeff Bezos. Bezos probably feels poor compared to, I don't know, historical emperors? It never ends. The only way to win is not to play. Chapter 6. The Ferrari Fallacy. Nobody's thinking what you think they're thinking. Here's a mind bender. When you see someone in a Ferrari, what do you think? Be honest. You don't think, wow, that person is cool. You think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. Housel learned this as a valet parking Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Nobody cares about the driver. They're imagining themselves in the driver's seat. You want respect and admiration? A $100,000 car won't get it. Humility, kindness, and empathy will bring you more respect than horsepower ever could. Plus, here's the kicker. Wealth is what you don't see. When someone drives by in a $200,000 Lambo, the only thing you know for sure is they have $200,000 less than before they bought it. Maybe they're rich. Maybe they're in debt up to their eyeballs. You have no idea. Rich is current income. It's visible, loud, flashy. Wealth is hidden. It's money not spent, cars not bought, upgrades not taken. Most people who say, I want to be a millionaire, actually mean, I want to spend $1 million. That's literally the opposite of being a millionaire. Chapter 7. The Freedom Dividend. What money is really for. Here's the ultimate truth about money. Its greatest value isn't buying stuff. It's buying control over your time. The ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today. That is true wealth. A little money means not stressing when you're sick and miss work. More money means waiting for a good job instead of taking the first offer. More still means not fearing your boss because you have options. Even more means retiring when you want, not when you have to. This freedom, this control over your time, predicts happiness better than any luxury good ever could. Chapter 8. Save like you're paranoid, because life is out to surprise you. Your savings rate matters more than your income, more than your investment returns, more than anything else you can control. But here's the key. You don't need a reason to save. Forget saving for a house, a car, retirement. Save for saving's sake. Why? Because life specializes in sucker punches. Savings without a specific goal give you options when life inevitably goes sideways. It's not an emergency fund. It's a life is crazy fund. And how do you save more? Raise your humility, not just your income. Savings equals income, ego. People with massive incomes often save nothing because they're in a daily death match with their ego, trying to keep up with the Joneses. The people who build real wealth, they don't give a damn what others think. Here's the final truth bomb. Don't try to be perfectly rational with money. Be reasonable. Harry Markowitz won a Nobel Prize for creating the mathematically perfect portfolio. But his personal portfolio? Simple 50-50 stocks and bonds. Not optimal, but it helped him sleep at night. The mathematically perfect strategy is useless if you abandon it during the first crisis. A reasonable strategy you can stick with beats a rational strategy you can't. You're not a spreadsheet. You're a person with emotions, fears, dreams, and a family. Your financial decisions happen at the dinner table, not in an Excel formula. Embrace it. Commentary. This book hit me like a lightning bolt because it's not really about money. It's about being human. We live in a world that screams, more, faster, bigger. But Housel whispers back, enough. Patient, freedom. The most powerful revelation? Money's highest purpose isn't buying things, it's buying autonomy. The power to wake up and choose your day. That's wealth that no Rolex can match. We're not rational robots. We're messy, emotional, storytelling creatures shaped by luck, risk, and experiences that represent a tiny sliver of reality. Acknowledging this isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The rich versus wealthy distinction changed everything for me. Rich screams, wealth whispers. Rich is the Instagram post. Wealth is the security you sleep on. Your action plan: do this today. Right now. The 10-minute game plan. Grab your phone. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Write down what you actually want from money. Not what Instagram says you should want. What you want. Freedom at 40? Career flexibility? Security for your kids? This becomes your North Star, filtering out 99% of the noise. Tonight, automate your humility. Before bed, set up an automatic transfer for the day after payday, even $50. Treat it like a Netflix subscription, non-negotiable. This builds wealth while you sleep, before your ego wakes up hungry. Every night, the enough exercise. Before closing your eyes, name 3 things you're grateful for that money can't buy. Your health, that laugh your kid does, the way coffee smells in the morning. This rewires your brain from scarcity to abundance. Final thought. This summary is just the trailer. The book is the full movie, complete with moments that'll make you gasp, think, and probably change how you see every dollar that passes through your hands. If something here sparked something in you, if you felt that little shift in perspective, then grab the actual book. Reading it isn't just learning. It's an experience that might genuinely change your financial future. And if this fired you up, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep learning from the billionaire's bookshelf together. Because the best investment you can make? It's in your own education. Let's build real wealth, the kind nobody can see, but everyone can feel.